what to do if you have big dreams, if you have big goals, but you have no idea how to even make them happen. What is it that you do? I have big dreams, but now what? This is your podcast episode. Hey, Courtney Sanders here. Welcome back to my podcast. If you're new to me, I'm a full-time certified 7-figure life and business coach, as well as wife and mom. I wear all the hats and do all the things. And I really just stand in awe, right? In amazement and gratitude. I am grateful to God. I am grateful to my family. I'm grateful to my community. I'm grateful to you if you're watching this, because it is not lost on me that, 7 years ago, maybe, I couldn't have said that, but I wanted to, right? I wanted to be able to say that about myself, and I wanted that to be true. And so that's really what today's podcast episode is about, because I really want to talk about what to do if you have big dreams, if you have big goals, but you have no idea how to even make them happen, how to make them possible. Like, what is it that you do? And as I stand here before you, as I am recording this, I'm getting goosebumps. I am living in the reality of dreams that I literally did not know how were going to happen, right? And yet I'm here. And so in a way, this episode is almost like, what would I have told myself back then when I was staying up late at night? I mean, I remember when I had to go to work in the morning and I'd just be up late on my computer, scrolling on other people's profiles, scrolling on other people's websites, and, looking at all these amazing life coaches, business coaches, whatever. They had these beautiful websites and photo shoots, and they seemed to be getting clients, and they, had all this stuff, all this branding. And I was just like, this is what I want to do. I don't want to go to work in the morning, okay? I don't want to do this long term. I want to be a coach. I want to build this type of business. How do I become that, right? How can I do that? And I had no idea how to do it. I had no idea what the journey would look like. And yet here I am, and I know this is the case because many of you tell me when you see me in person. I recently just did a speaking engagement in Dallas, and I had people walk up to me. One lady drove 5 or 6 hours. She's like, I watch all your YouTube videos. Hey there, if you're watching this. And she's like, I had to be here. I know it was a long drive, but I just really wanted to be here. It's not lost on me that I represent that for a lot of you, right? People are watching me and they're like, oh my goodness, this is what I want to do. Look at this, the purple light in the background. I get asked about this all the time. People are like, what is your setup? Where do you get that light from? It looks great. Thank you. Right? People are like, I want a light in the background. I want to do YouTube videos. I want to be a coach. How do we get here? And so, man, I'm like, in many respects, I could not have mapped this process out for myself, right? Even the way that I thought that this was going to come about, I definitely took a different path at times, and it came about in a very serendipitous way. But I believe this success, whatever it is that you want, however you want to be successful, maybe you don't want to be a coach per se, or maybe success means something different to you. Whatever it is that you want is available to you, even if you don't know how to achieve it. And so if you're like, yeah, I got big dreams, but now what? I have big dreams, but now what? This is your podcast episode. All right, the first thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to warn you, because it's going to sound cliche, and it's going to sound like something that you've heard before, but I'm going to say it because you're probably not doing it. That is, you need to decide. You need to decide not just what the dream is, but you need to decide that you will have that dream, that this dream will be a reality, that you're going to go after it no matter what. And it doesn't matter, right? You'll do whatever it takes until it takes. I say this because people say they have this big dream and I want to go after this thing, but they haven't made a decision, right? They know that they desire it. They know that they want it, but they haven't made a decision that they are going to orient their life until, right? I am orienting my life, everything that I do towards this dream until it happens, even if it takes my entire life. It doesn't even matter. This is what my life's focus is. This is what I want. And I am deciding that it is going to happen and that it is going to happen for me, right? Now, how can you make that decision from the outset when you don't know how it's going to happen? You make that decision because you need that to be taken care of so that you can focus on doing the work. From a psychological standpoint, if you have not decided that it is going to happen for you someday in the future, you don't know how, you don't know where, you haven't decided that it's definitely going to happen, you will always be kind of like looking over your shoulder and being unsure. Well, am I taking the right action? Well, what if this like blows up in my face? Well, what if it doesn't happen, right? Having that looming, well, what if it doesn't happen, hanging out in the back of your head is always going to prevent you from taking the very action you need to take to make it happen, right? And so you need to pull that off the table. Like that has to come off the table. This idea that it's even possible for it not to happen for you, you have to take that off the table and just assume that it is. Like operate in the assumption that it is happening, that it is a reality for me, and it's just a matter of time, and I'm just going to do the activities necessary, but it is guaranteed, right? That is the mindset that you need to operate from. So I know it sounds kind of like crazy, but that's really the place that you need to be moving from. In fact, I think about it like, imagine if you had an inheritance from like a long lost relative that you didn't even know existed, but they named you as like, the inheritor of some money and it's in a bank account somewhere. And it's in a different country, right? So the person left this money in a different bank account in a different country. And there's all this stuff you have to do. There's like paperwork that you have to file. And for whatever reason, you have to get a residence permit so that you can open up an account at the bank in order for it to be transferred to. And you have to, certify these documents, and you have to get the death certificate and all of this stuff that you would have to do, even if it took you a year, even if it took you 2 years, even if it took you 10 years, to get all the paperwork in order and to go over to the country and to speak to whoever you needed to speak to, you would be doing it with a resoluteness of, but this money actually exists and is actually left to me. And it's like in my name and it's in a bank account. Like it's actually there. It's just a matter of time until I can get to it. And so I'm going to do whatever it takes until it takes. I need to sign another document. No problem. I'll sign another document. I need to go speak with this person over here, go talk to this embassy over here, go sign whatever I need to do, buy a plane ticket, like, okay, what do I need to do? Because the money is worth it, right? Now, if the person left you $10, you're probably not, buying any tickets overseas. But if it's worth it to you and you are convinced this belongs to me and it's in an account somewhere, you will do whatever it takes, even if it takes a long time. And so we need to approach our dreams the same way. We need to believe that they are in an account somewhere with our names on it. And it's just a matter of time until we can do all the requisite things necessary in order to access it, right? In order to get to it. But it's never a question of if it's there, if it belongs to us, if it's ours, it is ours. It's just a matter of time. And the activities that we do with certainty that at some point, the breakthrough happens and all these things that we are working towards will be ours. And so that is definitely the mindset that I worked from the very beginning, especially when I had no idea how any of this was going to happen. I just decided that it was going to happen, that it was for me, that it was in an account somewhere with my name on it. And I just started doing the activities that I thought were necessary, signing the paperwork, so to speak, so that one day, and that one day was 7 years later, a decade later, I stand before you laying claim to the very thing that was always mine. It just took me time to get to it. All right, the next thing you need to do after you've decided is you need to just dive in. Just dive in with both feet, right? Again, we are so used to never taking action unless we know exactly the right action to take, right? And I think this is a holdover from school. Unfortunately, many of us are so scared to fail, right? We think everything is a test and, I don't want to get the wrong answer because if I get the wrong answer, then maybe I won't achieve this thing. And so that's why I said the decision has to come first, because if you've decided that this thing is for you, that it belongs to you, that is out there somewhere in the future, is on its way, right? You just have to do the things that you need to do. If you've made that decision, then it eliminates a lot of the fear of failing. Because even if you fail, there's actually no such thing as failing. You'll just be rerouted to where you need to go in order to get to, where you're trying to get to, right? I think about it like GPS, right? Once you've put in the destination, as long as that thing is running on your phone or in your car, it doesn't matter what type of crazy turns you take, you're on the wrong freeway, you're way over. Yes, it might delay you. Yes, it might take you longer, but that GPS is always rerouting to get you back on track to where you need to go in order to get to the destination. So that's why the decision is so important, because your brain operates the same way. As long as the brain knows that this is locked in and this is where we're going, even as you try different things and you fail, and I thought it was going to be this, but it is that, it's fine. Your brain will reroute, it'll adjust, it'll find another route to get you to where you're going, because where you're going is already locked in. So now that you've locked it in and you're like, I know this is mine, it's going to be mine, then just dive in with both feet and stop fearing doing something wrong. And I think that was a benefit that I did, was I just dove in. I said, well, we're going to blog. And I don't know that I'm going to get any readers to read my blog whatsoever, but we're going to do this. And I just did what seemed like a good idea, right? In the beginning, no one like taught me like, oh, you should do this or you should do that. I just did what made sense to me, right? So in the beginning, I didn't actually know how coaches made money. I kid you not. I thought they made money by hosting brunches all around the country, and that they made money from like ticket sales, and that they would have these like self-help brunches. I kid you not, that's what I thought. And so I was like, man, if I can start having self-help brunches in like every major city in the US, and I do that all year, and I'm able to get like, 500 people to come, to this event each time, that'll be X amount of dollars. Like, that's what I thought. So that's what I dove into, like, with both feet first. Now, was that correct? I'm looking back, was that the way I got here? No, but I couldn't have got here had I not started with that, even though it was quote unquote the wrong direction. And so I remember I was in Dallas. I don't really know anyone in Dallas. And so I reached out to a natural hair blogger, because you might also know from my story that I have a natural hair background. That's how I got on social media. My first business ever was a hair care company. I started blogging about it. This here YouTube channel, if you scroll back to my old YouTube videos, you will see me like in the bathroom twisting my hair at like age 20, because that was like how I was building my brand. And so when I switched and went into life coaching and doing all of that, I was just like, well, who do I know who can get a lot of people in a room? Oh, natural hair bloggers, right? Because that's who was super popular at the time. So I cold DM'd this lady. She was a natural hair blogger in Dallas. I cold DM'd her and was like, hey, you don't know me from anywhere. I have this blog. I, want to get into life coaching and personal development. I want to host this event. Would you partner with me on this event? We could split the ticket sales, and, you could do your natural hair thing and I'll do like my self-help thing. And she was like, yes. And so we partnered on our first event. And so that event, actually, it went well in that people really enjoyed it and we had a good turnout, but it didn't go well in the sense that we both lost money. I think when it was all said and done, we both lost like $300 in terms of the venue and then the food and all of that. The ticket sales didn't cover. But at that event, I had an opportunity to share my insight, and people were just really sharing how they were struggling with setting their goals. So from there, I was like, oh, let me go home and write a goal setting workbook, because this was right before the new year, actually in 2014. So that's what I did. I wrote the Get What You Want workbook, or the Get What You Want guide, which is still available on Amazon. And at the time, I sold it for pay what you want, because I was like, no one is going to pay me for this. And people were paying $10, $20. And that's how I made my first like $500 or $1,000 online, right? So that really got me into, oh, okay, I could sell digital products online. And so we were kind of off to the races from there. So I needed to take the wrong step in order to be directed to the right step. You see what I'm saying? And so many people are so scared of like doing the wrong thing, where they don't realize that the wrong thing is exactly what they need to do, because it's going to put them in position for the right thing to achieve what they're trying to achieve. Okay, the next thing you need to do is you need to be diligent, right? And I say this because so many people dive into things head first, and then they quit as soon as it's not working out, right? And I actually talked about this in a recent video or podcast. I'm actually not sure which one it was. I know I was ranting when people do this, because they don't trust the process, right? They're just like, oh, I want this thing and I want it to happen overnight and I want it to happen right now. And as soon as it doesn't happen for them, they are immediately like ejecting themselves from what they just placed themselves in, and they're off to the next thing. And so nothing ever has a chance to catch, right? Things don't have a chance to take if you are always jumping from tactic to tactic, from business idea to business idea, from strategy to strategy. And so if there's one thing that I'll give myself, is that I was diligent in this field, right? So I was doing the events, and the events didn't work out, but it kind of led me to the ebook, and the ebook led me to little master classes, and the master classes led me to my 21-day self-discipline challenge, which ended up being my breakout hit, where I made my first like $4,000 online. I had all these people who were signing up, which then led me to start to do a bit of business coaching, because people were asking me, well, how did you build this brand in your blog, and how are you making money on this? Which then led me to one-on-one coaching, which then led me to coaching packages, which then led me to quit my job, because finally I had made enough to quit, which then led me to my first big conference in New Orleans in 2017, which then led me to my first high ticket coaching program, which then led me to, basically where I stand before you right now. So yes, diving in and being willing to take the wrong action was a part of that, but being diligent every step of the way was another part of that, because this has been a 7-year process, right? I went full time in 2016, and I was building my coaching business I was coaching since 2014 and I was building my business since 2011. Okay. So I've been doing this for well over a decade. I've been full-time for nearly a decade. And I just had my $1 million year, not this past year, but the previous year. So I did have $1 million year this year, even though the year isn't over, but taxes and accounting. I'm like, oh my goodness, we've already crossed $1 million this year. And we crossed $1 million last year in 2022. But 2021 was not $1 million year, right? So it's taken time for me to even get to the place where I could have $1 million business. All those years I had been working and didn't hit it until I was 5 years into my business. Again, diligence. So if you don't know how to make this dream happen, understand that it's not going to happen if you are not diligent, because a lot of this is a domino effect, right? And so the efforts that we put in start to compound on each other. Another good book that I'll recommend is called The Slight Edge. Highly, highly recommend that. It really talks about this compounding effect and how it doesn't look like much in the beginning, but over time, it creates this exponential growth that you're looking for because you're diligent. So you have to be willing to be diligent consistently in order to achieve your dreams, even if you don't know how they're going to happen. And speaking of diligence, one thing that I was really diligent about was setting mini deadlines. So I know this might sound contradictory because I was like, oh, you need to do whatever it takes until it takes, right? Yes, in order to achieve the dream, but there might be specific goals that you need to hit in order to achieve that broader dream, right? So for me, yes, I wanted to be a, public speaker and travel the world and be a 7-figure life coach and all of those things. But I knew that that wouldn't be possible if I didn't first learn how to sell my coaching online. And then from selling my coaching online, I needed to learn how to generate enough to quit my job. And then once I quit my job, I needed to learn how to create a high ticket coaching program. And then so there were all these like milestones along the way that I knew were necessary in order for me to achieve that bigger dream. And so that's where I set the deadlines. And so I set a deadline for me to basically make my first dollar selling my self-improvement concepts. And that was with that event that I did, right? And technically I lost money, but I set a deadline because I knew that if I didn't set a deadline, I was never going to do this event and I was going to be fearful for the rest of my life. And I just couldn't live with myself knowing that I had this dream and that I wasn't willing to take action. So along the way, in my diligence, I've always set little deadlines where, okay, by this date, you need to do this event. By this date, you need to finish that workbook. By this date, you need to have your first coaching program launch. By this date, you need to have this much saved up so that you can quit your job. By this date, you need to do your big event, right? I'm always setting deadlines. Even this whole South Africa trip, which by the way, we are almost sold out with. I think we have one room left, and not even a full room because we allow split share for some people who want to meet a friend and want us to pair them with someone on the trip. We have one half room left for someone who wants to room with someone else. That's it, right? I didn't even know how I was going to do international business, how I was going to get to Africa, and certainly how I was going to host a retreat. But I set deadlines along the way that ultimately got me there. So this is what I'm saying. I am standing as a living proof that if you do these things, it totally will work for you, even if you don't know how it's going to work for you. And the last thing that I did and that I continue to do, and you'll never hear me come up on a podcast or a video ever without saying this, and that is seeking divine guidance, right? So hopefully you see, I'm trying to make this easy for you, right? You need to decide, then you need to dive in, then you need to be diligent, you need to set these mini deadlines, and then next, seek divine guidance. I would be a liar. I would be a liar if I said, oh yes, I got here all in my own strength and all in my own brilliance, and I came up with all these amazing ideas and everybody loved it and yay. Like, what? No. If you only knew, even this week, right, how God has interceded on my behalf, how I am on my knees in prayer every single day for my business, for my family, for my clients, for my employees, for my staff, just begging God, really beseeching God, right? Pulling out my King James words, entreating the Holy Spirit to give me ideas, to give me wisdom, and to point me in the right direction. And I mean, I could cry right now. Like one day I'll have to do another podcast just on like the miracles that have happened today as I'm recording this very video. The amount of manna from heaven, right, that has literally fallen out of the sky in my time of need, whether it's, Lord, I don't know where I'm going to find this person who's going to help me with this, or I need this resource, or I don't know how we're going to do this, or what about the retreat? Are we going to be able to sell out all the spots? Like, first of all, I pray about everything in my business. I pray about everything in my life, my kids. Like, I am one of those prayer warriors, right? I'm not the old school grandma yet, but I aspire to be, right? I aspire to be somebody's praying grandma because prayer works. And so divine guidance, like, you can be as smart as you want to be, and you can be as talented as you want to be, and all these great things, but you are you are arrogant if you believe that your talent and your strength and all your education and all of these things are sufficient to withstand all of like everything that's happening in the world, right? I think about just things that we don't even realize that we have been spared from. All the different crazy stuff that is happening in the world, things that could happen on a daily basis. Like you could snap your fingers and at any given point, everything that you have built could be gone tomorrow. And so whether you believe in God or not, I'm here to tell you that it is nothing but God's grace that is even keeping you where you are at this place in your life. And so for me, my secret weapon has been prayer and seeking divine guidance, because I get introduced to people that I know I would not have been introduced to had it not been for the grace of God. I get invited to rooms that I know I would not have been invited to if it were not for the grace of God. And again, I'm like, I know some people are going to watch this and roll their eyes, but I don't care, because like I said, I would be a liar if I got on here and I said otherwise. So truly the biggest thing, this should have been first, but I know some of y'all click off the video. So I'm like, all right, I'll make it last. But if you want to know how to achieve big dreams and you don't know how you're going to get there, if you are not calling in divine guidance, right, from God, right, tapping into the Holy Spirit, praying that Jesus would show you the correct direction, like, I don't know what else to tell you, because that's what I do, right? That's what I do. Take it or leave it. But those are the 5 things that I would highly, highly recommend if you are very serious about achieving big dreams, but you don't even know where you're gonna go or how you're gonna get it. So soapbox rant done. If one of your big dreams is building a successful coaching practice, then I definitely recommend that you join me in the CLS coaching certification. No, CLS doesn't just stand for my initials. It stands for the Coach of Life Success, which is the designation that you walk away with after 90 days, because our coaching program, we can get you certified in an accredited certification in 90 days. And not only that, we will show you how to come up with your own coaching program, how to build your own coaching methodology. And if you so choose, we even have a package that will show you how to build your coaching business from scratch, how to market it, and how to structure it so that you can become the next big name in your industry. So if you're interested in that, you can click the link in the description box or the show notes or wherever it is. And yeah, I will see you in the next podcast/video. Bye.